Thanks everybody for joining. Great to see the romantics or the wannabe romantics on. I think this will be an exciting session, and obviously a lot of what we're doing here is not just about sales, covering a lot of other areas, and this topic in particular, talking about the 5 love languages. Certainly feel free to pass this along to any others, family, friends, or whatnot. You should have gotten a self-assessment when you registered. So if you did not or have any issues with that, please let us know. My co-host, Tony Jerry, who's doing most of the whole hard work here. He's a fantastic strategist, as a lot of you know, and he doesn't like to be called executive coach, but I think unlike a lot of strategists, he can really get in the weeds to really help you in a lot of kind of different specific areas. He's written 60+ books, and we're fortunate enough to be able to take advantage of them all. We had previously done 8 sessions, culminating with the 9th that summarized the prior sessions that we had done basically in end of last year. Some great things around strategic health, your personal branding, your vibe. So those are all on the sales community site. So I recommend you go back and check those out. And they also come with the self-assessments that we do as well. And then for the follow-on sessions, sorry, can you just go back? Who's ever? Anyway, so here you can see the slides. We're continuing this every other Tuesday, and some other great sessions coming up, which you can see: high leverage activities, working high performance team, email effectiveness, time management. So a lot of great topics, really pulling from the best of Tony's 60 books. So anyway, without further ado, Tony.
Thanks, buddy. Hello, everybody. You know, it's a really powerful book. I really like endorsing it. I like talking about it. One of the stories that I like to talk about is the idea that we have different languages in our life that we can speak. Sometimes we speak neuro-linguistic programming, which is where we communicate at the unconscious level. Sometimes we speak DISC, which is the personality profiling. And sometimes we might speak the 5 love languages. And ever since I found the book, I fell in love with it, and I love being able to share with people the distinctions. Terry said he picked up a copy of the book and started reading it. Michael, who else is on the line that might have read the book? Anybody familiar with the book before today?
Yeah, Tony, I read it about 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, I looked it up today. It looked like it was first published in '92. That's a long time. 28 years, long time.
28 years ago. Yeah.
Sean, how about you? Have you seen it before? Nope. Anybody else new? Have you seen it? Michael?
No, I haven't.
I have a copy. I just never read it.
There you go. That's right.
Here's the original book, man. You know, it's just a really, really powerful concept. The way I understand the history is that Gary went through his files after being a counselor for like 30 years and came up with these areas, 5 areas that people really feel loved when they're communicated in this way. And so what we're going to do really is kind of discuss kind of the why behind it and talk about the 5 lessons. And we would encourage everybody, we put a challenge slide in to kind of challenge us all to share things as you go through and hear each of the 5 categories on what you might do, so we all have best ideas. And then I took and added some additional items yesterday in our rehearsal of some specific things that I've done. You see the slide there on what did she mean, what did he mean? I think most of us are familiar with the book that came out many years ago from John Gray, Men Are From Mars and Women Are For Venus. And I think that book really gives us a lot of trigger thoughts that, yes, men and women look at things differently. This particular book, though, it's not male-female. It's, you know, how do you really internally process when someone's doing something for you that loves you? And sometimes we get stuck in communicating in our own way. And if you'll remember when we talked about DISC, if you happen to be on that training, we talked about the platinum concept. And the platinum rule is to give people or communicate to people the way they want to receive it, not necessarily the way you want to receive it. The golden rule is how you want to receive it. The platinum rule is how they want to receive it. And the same thing applies here when you think about each of these 5. So the 5 here are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. So think about it for a minute, if you would, all of us that are on the line, or if you're watching the recording, which of these 5 might be more extreme or dominant for you? And when I ask people, like we talked about with Tucker yesterday in our prep, most people will say there's 1 or 2. Mine happens to be words of affirmation. And so what that means is that I really crave when my wife gives me a card or sends me a note or sends me a text. And oftentimes I might send her a text or a note of appreciation or love or thanking her and thinking that I'm really doing a great job because that's what's important to me and it's not so important to her. What's important to my wife is quality time. It's acts of service, number 4. And so again, I want to unpack that when we get into it, the quality time versus just time. Some people like gifts, some don't. My wife personally, I've traveled around the world like most of you, and I come home and over the years I would bring my wife a gift and she's like, no big deal. And I'm thinking, well, but I found a great gift for you. She's like, no big deal, because that's not her deal. And then physical touch, when you put your arm around somebody or you hold their hands. Randy did a little research. Randy, can you tell everybody about these percentages on this next slide?
Yeah, so I had done, I don't know, probably a month or so ago from Chapman. You can go online and he's got his kind of quiz and it comes back. So I always find that the quiz is challenging because you say, okay, well, I'm kind of same on both. But anyway, this, plus or minus, 30% on each for me, words affirmation, quality time, and physical touch. 10% acts of service and 0% receiving gifts. But just to clarify, I love receiving gifts. So I guess not as much as the other areas. And then again, if you take the self-assessment, I think you get a similar readout in terms of what these 5 areas are for you.
Hey, Eric, here's one for you. Anybody ever written a note on your spouse's window or mirror? Eric, you have?
No, I was waving hello. Sorry, Tony. I have not, but my daughter does it, and she's, my wife loves it. So it's, yeah, I should have taken the hint long ago, but yes.
Yeah. So there's a good one right there. If you haven't ever done that, has anybody done that where you've taken like a magic marker or something and written a note, a happy birthday note or appreciation note somewhere on a window, car, mirror? Anybody?
Spirit of full disclosure, I cut a heart into the lawn once.
What's that, Joe?
In the spirit of full disclosure, I cut a heart into the lawn while I was cutting it once.
Nice.
I like that.
Do it again.
Joe, that's $1 for Joe. Overachiever today. Joe, you're supposed to smile. You're not smiling, Joe. There we go.
All right.
This is community. We're sharing ideas. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Everybody share ideas. Okay. Challenge, share your best ideas. Again, that's what I said. All of us to do that. So let's dig into the first one, words of affirmation. Ask yourself, how well do you feel when your partner offers encouraging words like compliments? Like, do you crave compliments, appreciate compliments? Do you like it when someone sends you a note, when someone sends you an email, when someone writes a letter? Anybody, like words of encouragement is like a big one for you?
It's Eric. Yeah, it's huge, man. And salespeople are really easy. You do both. You pay them like crazy and you recognize them often, and they'll bust through walls for you. So, yep, I love doing the gee whiz thing now, which is handwritten cards and notes. Send them to them in the snail mail. People love that. They remember that. Interviewees, that type of stuff. To follow up in a handwritten card. It's a nice touch. It has been for me.
I think the ultimate salesperson really is thinking about that. It does take a little bit of energy to send something out, Eric, but I believe if you think about relating this to connecting, not just to our significant others. And by the way, they've written a few other books as offshoots. If you're not familiar, they've written one for teenagers, and they've also written one on how to really show appreciation in the workspace. So they've done one on leadership, and I'll show you a copy of that book in just a minute. Yeah, here's one for you. So I turned 60 Saturday, and my kids know how much words.
No, every no. You know,
Say it ain't so.
Yeah, I know.
Don't worry, I got all your gray hair for you. I got it.
It was a tough one. And my kids, they know how much I like words, so they gave me nice cards, and they do that, and they actually produce a video for me versus buying a gift, and I thought that was pretty cool. They did cook me dinner, so that was kind of fun. If acts of service was my love language, that would have probably meant more, but the cards really did mean a lot to me. One of the things I do, Eric, you said, you talk about sending notes out on a professional basis. This was a picture I took yesterday in our preparation. I have my team give me people's names of the birthdays that are coming up, and I actually do personalized notes. Eric, you might have gotten one from me over time. I know, Randy, you probably have. And I really encourage us to be thinking about that. This particular message is, again, not just about our spouse or just about our kids. You can really show appreciation in ways that our clients and our customers can really it can have a connect to them. Anybody got a comment on how you send cards and you encourage people, customers, prospects, people around you? Manu, anything you do?
I keep track of birthdays, Tony. So I just recorded yours in my iPhone contacts, and I'm kind of known around town, so to speak, as the birthday guy. And people are always amazed. Rick, how do you do that? How do you do that? Well, when I learn about somebody's birthday, I document it right away. It's in my iPhone, and I'll text somebody, or if it's someone who's in a group, I'll recognize that person in a group, and it keeps me sharp. And I like doing it. Actually, I just turned the same age as you back in December. Okay. And my daughter put together this amazing video montage, and I'm in the midst of thanking everybody because I'm about 6 weeks behind. And I'm also putting my daughter at the top because she really, drove the campaign and got a lot of people to give me it was a snowstorm on the 16th, my birthday, and I couldn't get out. So I'm starting to think maybe that my love language may actually be quality time, because I really love just sitting there and watching that video. It was about an hour long, and it was like the story of my life, and it was phenomenal.
Wow.
It's great. And then for everybody, I think most people probably have it, but Tony, you've got your kind of what I'd call it custom, I don't know, not quite stationary, but note cards. But obviously, my wife and I have it, but we also get it for our kids. So that way it kind of makes it a little bit, maybe nicer, easier, for them to do their thank you notes.
Oh, that's good. Tell me what you do now, Randy. You give them cards with their.
Yeah. So like you have yours. So, like my son, Tommy, his would say, Tommy Seidel or Thomas Seidel, just as with his name.
Oh, excellent.
And same. And then what's great about these sized cards, no offense, but you can kind of fill them up by writing, a sentence or two, as opposed to you have a full, so something bigger, which then you got to do more. And then you got the nice envelopes with the address on the back, and thick stock of paper.
Does anybody else give your kids stationery? That's a good one, Randy. You do it, Eric?
Yeah. We give it to the kids.
That's a good takeaway. Right?
I use those accessories, the website accessories. There's those accessories cards. They got a nice motivational saying. They're really nice stock. And you send one of those. It's memorable. You will be remembered for that. Like Rick was saying about the birthday, you'll be remembered for sending a nice thank you card.
When you apply the love languages to the workplace, this is an interesting little visual we pulled off the website on words of affirmation. In the professional side of things, sometimes you might send a note out and copy other people and appreciate someone for doing something. And then sometimes you might do it more on a one-on-one text basis. So if you take that one of the five, it could be public or private. On the quality time, of course, there's different types of quality time. And I had someone hit me up many years ago about kids and quality time. And what he said to me was a life changer, or let me just call it an epiphany. And I've remembered it for the rest of my life. And that is, kids don't measure quality time, they measure time. And I was like, wow, that's an epiphany. It's not the quality time, just time. They don't ever go, well, Dad, this was not quality time today. It's like, no, they don't do that. It's either you spent time or invested time with them or not. Tangible gifts, today you can send things electronically. There's lots of ways of doing things. For many years, we discovered that with Amazon, you can press a button for $4 and have something gift wrapped, and you can add a few words as if you're typing it right there, and they send it out for you. Does anybody do that? We use the Amazon gift option?
I
Hey,
use
Tony.
that in wine.com. If you get a stewardship, you get free shipping. So I probably send out, I'd probably say 24 bottles to folks throughout the year, like on the teams and stuff like that. And the text thing works too well, because if you're linked into anybody, you know when their birthday is. If you're somehow on Facebook or something, you know when their birthdays are. I'm considered one of those birthday type, disc influence type of, personalities.
Uh-huh.
So even if you haven't talked to somebody in a long time and they pop up on LinkedIn, I never like do a direct message on LinkedIn. I'll just pull out my phone and send them a quick, nice text, and it goes a long way. And
It does.
I'm just lazy when it comes to like writing on a piece of paper and sending it out in the mail, I guess.
I think what I'd like to say, Sean, is all of us need to be thinking as we go through these trainings, especially this one, what's the system that works for us? And there's things that Randy does, I do, Eric does, you do, Sean, and we get good ideas and we go, should we put that into our habits or not, right? So you get the idea and you can say yes or no, I want to be a squatter. Squatters don't do squat, right? And then sometimes though, you want to do something and you make it part of your habit. And if you have really good habits, then guess what? You're going to connect to people. And one of the habits you want to have is understand those people that are around you. How do you make them feel loved or liked? And this is a good training for that. On the workplace, obviously, you see there less touch, obviously, and then providing assistance could be one ways that you give acts of service. So thanks, Rick. Okay, there's that second book I was talking about, or the third book I was talking about. If you are not familiar, let me encourage you to maybe buy that or take a look at that one. That's how you take these 5 and apply it to the workplace.
And then Tony, sorry, I think Stenny, you were going to say something before?
Oh, no, I was just going to add, sorry I was late and I'm kind of new to the party here, but thanks for having me on this. One of the things that I've been doing throughout quarantine is sending personalized gifts with our company's, little tchotchkes from the company that you'd get at a trade show or whatever. But I've been getting in the habit of sending 2 or 3 of those a week to any one of my 25 customers. And they are so well received, whether it's a battery charger or a mouse pad or a little cup or a mouse pad or a pen or pencil. Anyway, it's getting something in the mail with a personal note, people love.
They do. Hey, Eric, did you get those cards I sent? Did I get a deck to you? Eric, do you remember seeing them?
It's been a while, but I know I've received cards from you, books over the years. I've seen most of your material. Yeah.
Yep. I just think we just need to constantly be doing that. Okay, words of affirmation to kind of bring this one to closure of the 5. Actions don't always speak louder than words. Words sometimes matter. So we got to really think our thinking there. To feel deeply loved sometimes can give you a lot of strength. And we just encourage you to think about number 1 of the 5 words of encouragement. Number 2 is quality time. My big pitch here is, like I said, with the kid thing, quality time doesn't always have to be quality time. It could be just time. Doing a date night's a great thing, having deep conversation. And then I think a big piece of that puzzle is listening. Male or female, I think quality time can really go up if you're really present. And I think all of us in the sales arena have tons of things on, like I'll speak for myself, have tons of things on our to-do list. And we would want to be constantly staying in the groove of making things happen, and being present can oftentimes be a big check mark on the quality time, the whole undivided attention. Anybody want to comment on that one?
Hey, Tony, it's Terry. Every year at New Year's, my family, we kind of go around and everyone picks one word that's going to be their word for the year. And I actually did pick present this year because I'm very guilty of multitasking and I'm trying hard to be in the moment and be present. And so this one kind of resonates with what I've been thinking about.
Got it. Thank you. Anybody else want to share quality time ideas?
I'll make a comment to Austin, and unfortunately I got to jump 7 minutes for a customer meeting. But one of the things that I found, one of my buddies started a company called Amplify, where they survey the masses of employees and try to understand employee engagement. They found that 67% of employees right now haven't got constructive criticism in the last 30 days from their manager. So what's happening is there's this atrophy of employee engagement, productivity is going lower, mainly attributed to the work from home. And so what I've been doing with my team is my daily touch points with them, one-on-one video, focused, non-multitasking, and ensuring they're providing verbal and nonverbal feedback, that they understand I'm there, I'm listening, and I'm really paying attention to what they're saying to make sure that they understand that, yeah, maybe I'm not sitting across the table from you, but having that visual and trying to make eye contact as much as possible on a daily basis, I'm seeing to work well with just the overall energy and aura that my reps are taking out. So I'm finding just being able to be focused on them, even for a short period of time, is really paying dividends.
Cool. Love it. Anybody else? Ideas? Quality time?
From a family perspective, we have what I call a phone box between 6 and 8. We put away the phones. It helps a lot. It allows us to actually have conversations and put down the iPads and the screen time. And then it also helps me with work, because my new role is I'll have calls at night with Singapore where I have to put everything down. It allows me to actually spend quality time with the family until 8:30, where I might have to pick up another call for like an hour. So
that's a really good one. That's a really good one. My wife implemented that, like No Tech Tuesday, or where it's just everybody focused and playing a board game. A game of Monopoly will go so far.
Totally.
The kids will tell you so much over that game.
Yeah.
Do you remember my time model, the 168? Everybody seen that one, right? 168. Yep. And then you basically take out your sleep time and you take out your maintenance time. And at the bottom, what you end up with is you end up with your 100 hours. And when you're thinking about really investing quality time, we basically have that 100 hours to work with. That's kind of our total bank account, and how we invest that time can be really valuable. So just gonna own that one. I think most of you have seen it over and over. I think it's just really valuable to have that frozen in your mind. Let's go to the next one. So receiving gifts, and Randy has a good one coming up here. I want to show you a picture we did yesterday from our prep. Randy, you want to tell them what happened? You got a gift recently, and gonna tell them what happened, please.
I did, and my other son Tommy's on, but he's muted, and he told me I shouldn't ask him to say anything, so I won't. So my youngest son Billy sent me some sales community swag, and of which I'm actually wearing the golf shirt now. So you can see on the screen, that was the t-shirt. So it's hard to get me excited about a bunch of things. So you can see this is the golf shirt. So t-shirts, duffel bag, a jacket. So obviously very, very thoughtful and kind, and completely surprised out of the blue. So very
nice.
Cool. One of the things that my wife had made me aware of, and Randy and I talked about it yesterday with Tucker, is that does anybody have an issue with really appreciating a gift when someone gives you a gift? Like taking just an extra moment or so and really appreciating a person that sent you something, gave you something, you sent them a thank you note. I got a video this morning from my great nephews, and I sent a note back, thank you for the video. I appreciate you kind of putting a smile on my face. And my wife said, you don't do a very good job, this is years ago, you don't do a very good job of receiving gifts. I'm fortunate enough that I pretty much buy what I want to buy, and I know a lot of us on the line do the same thing. And when someone gives you something, I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Anybody do a good job of really appreciating people?
So Tony, one of the things I do, and Randy, I think I got this from you years ago, but not sure, is somebody gives me a bottle of wine. When I open it and drink it, I put a little note who gave it to me, and I send a little text or thank you saying, hey, just enjoyed this with, whatever.
That's good.
And I think I got that from you, Randy, years ago. But it seems appreciative. I don't know if they're surprised at how long it took me to drink it, because, it could be 6 or 9 months later, right? But they're like, how do you remember that? Anyway, it's a fun little thing that seems to be appreciated.
That's good.
I think it was Sean mentioned using wine.com. So I send Randy and some others wine via wine.com, and Randy will send me a picture of the bottle with who he's consuming it with, which is always perfect.
Yeah,
just like I'm there.
It's exactly what I do. I must have got that from you, Randy.
Great touch, Randy.
There you go. You want to make sure they're appreciated, so they keep being sent.
Exactly right.
Good.
Tony, years
Steve, you
ago,
must have lost my address, I guess.
Yeah, I still have your text.
This was a COVID year. Come on.
Tony, years ago, I learned a technique from Dale Carnegie on how to receive a gift.
Okay.
TOUT, tout. Thank the person. Thank, and now I just blanked out. You're gonna thank the person. You're also gonna be specific in how you're gonna use that gift, if it's possible to do that.
Got it.
You thank them again. So it's the thank in the front, the thank at the back, and a little bit of meat in the middle, whether you're saying it live or whether you're writing it.
So that's Rick, thanks. That's number 3. The 4th one is acts of service. And this can be challenging if your significant other likes it and you're really busy, because then you got to be able to shift time to be able to do things. And it could be a chore that you could outsource, or do you actually do it yourself? I know that I have this one to deal with. My wife is acts of service, and I'm constantly preaching to everybody outsource stuff so you can be free to do what you want to do. And she's like, don't outsource that. I want you to do it, paint the wall.
Well,
I'm like, well,
well,
we got,
that's super easy, Tony. That is pretty much the way my wife and I work, where I spend money to feel good and she spends money to look good. So that's really what it's all about. It works though.
anybody else? Acts of service. I didn't see you this morning getting up, Eric, and vacuuming. Were you vacuuming this morning?
I am not a vacuumer, but years ago during high school and college, I cooked in French restaurants, the Scoffier method, French continental. And so I do lots of cooking around the house. And I'll tell you, my kids love it. My wife and I are getting because it's lots of butter and sauces and creams. And so it's really bad for you, your other, but it is so good. And my kids love it.
Acts of service is a good one. And knowing what your kids like, and knowing what your spouse likes, knowing what your significant other likes, knowing what the people that you work with like. Physical touch, we were thinking about examples of that. What we were looking up is, is it appropriate to put your arm on someone's shoulder today and, thank them, or shake their hand, or give them a fist bump, all those things today are kind of like interesting. When's the last time maybe your spouse held your hand or put their arm around you, or put their arm around your arm? Physical touch can be really powerful for some people, beyond just, of course, in the bedroom. So let's look at this now. We have to work at it sometimes, of course, to be able to really drill it. And it starts with awareness. Like if you're not familiar with these concepts, you may go through life and not even have any idea that your significant other likes one of these more than the others, or you like them. And then you have kids, and do you know what your kids really like? And I would propose that it's something to really do, to know. Anybody comments on kind of the awareness so far? Like, you didn't know about this book, you didn't know about these 5, and now you have the awareness. Any comments from anybody? Nope. Everybody knew the book before, read the book.
Actually, I can say I don't know about the book, but actually hearing about it in practice is helpful to sort of understand that and apply it also to business. So you think about that, about doing a lot of stuff innately, but actually making it consciously makes it effective.
Yeah, it's a good distinction.
Yeah.
Do you sit there and intuitively or innately make something happen, or do you do it strategically with thought? As an action, do you go to your spouse and say, hey, one of the things I do, this is a side note here, one of my favorite books to give to people is when someone is engaged, is to give this to them as a wedding gift. Does anybody give that as a wedding gift? Think about how powerful that can be. A little $10 or $12 book as a wedding gift. Anybody do that? Good idea if you're not doing it. Yep. So think about that. We must be willing to learn our spouse's primary love language. Many couples have never learned kind of what's important. Let's see here. Complete the following sentence. I most feel loved by my partner when what? And then you put the 5 up and you say, what is it? So let's kind of maybe, as we're kind of going through the highlights here, let's look at, if you look at number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, that's the big 5. So you kind of got the the awareness on 1 and 2, and then each one of the 3 through 7 are the actual ones. So if you don't know, then even ask yourself what's important to me. And then, for years, I would buy my wife flowers, and I'm really, really good at flowers. And since she is not into gifts, Eric, I would just buy her a single red rose, because when I'd buy her a bunch of flowers, she was like, thanks for remembering, but you just burned $100. And if I send, like a single rose for $25 or $30, she's like, so I get a double win because I'm not triggering something she doesn't like, and yet I got their memory. And I think those distinctions are things that a lot of people, they just don't go to that level of thinking. And so many times we sharpen the saw on how we sell, how we communicate, how we close, how we follow up. And yet, things that we could be doing with the people that we love, maybe we aren't as intentional as we could be. So like some comments. What are we taking away? Eric, what's on your mind? You know this concept. You believe in it. What are you taking away today?
Yeah, so it's a great reminder. I'm terrible at getting gifts. You said it, man. If I want it, I just go buy it. I have multiple of everything, and it's hard for my kids to. Let me take that back. It's hard for my wife. My kids know they can nail it. My daughter nailed it this year. They're really good, and I guess it's just hard to get gifts from my wife, even though she's pretty good at it. Words of affirmation. Same person day in, day out for the last 189 million years, whatever it's been, we've been locked up. Gets to be a little trying, so I need to do a better job at that. I will say it has been good that we've been married 30 years before COVID hit. That really helped because there were no surprises in the house. We knew exactly what the other one was going to do and say and think. So, no, it's a great reminder, Tony.
Here's one for you. I made a mistake last week. So my wife buys me this cool shirt for Christmas. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but it's a shirt that zips up on the front and it's actually buttons. So when you sit down, the buttons don't pop open, right? So you can wear a tight shirt and it's a zipper. Has anybody seen those? It's a really phenomenal shirt. Anyway, I love them. So I have like a lot of them.
Tony,
so she bought me two.
Would you give me the shirt off your back, Tony?
I would.
Keep your shirt on, Tony.
And so she buys me one white one and one black one. And in my closet, I like to have like 5 each. And like, because the way COVID's hit and everything, I just don't wear a lot of dress shirts now, I just don't. Do the gift, or do I tell her I probably don't like a 6th one of each? So I waited like 3 weeks, and then I said, maybe just like we send those back 30 days deal, and she's like, no, I'll just put them in the closet one day. I know you'll want them. So I made a mistake, and the mistake was I was trying to be frugal, and anyway, I should have just accepted it, appreciate it. I don't know, just it's being real. Sean, what are you taking away, buddy?
First thing is, my wife hates it when I buy her flowers on Valentine's Day. She says it's such a ripoff. And it's one of those like double-edged swords where it's like, if I don't buy her flowers, I'm in the doghouse in my mind. But if I buy her flowers, I'm still in the doghouse. So I usually buy her one rose or I'll buy her mother-in-law a bouquet of roses, and my mom, of course. So buying her gifts, her response is, why are you spending money on me? So that's just a losing battle, to be honest. Yeah. And then, I'm fortunate enough, at least I've been married for going on 11 years, and we built a beautiful home where we have enough space to get away from each other, I guess. So we, there's that when it comes to the, some things where
John, do you know
constantly,
what her 5 of the 5, does she have a prominent love language of these 5? Do you know?
For me, it's like getting physical touch, but for her, it's definitely, a handwritten note or something nice. Like I was going to respond to your mirror situation. I did that one time, but I used permanent marker without knowing, and that caused a problem. But
I'll make a note of that in the future. Make sure and say it. Dry erase.
All right.
right, yeah. So she likes the handwritten notes. She likes the simple things, and I think that's why, we're married.
Hey, have you guys, Sean triggered me thinking, have you guys seen the book that I did called Strategic Giving?
No.
You know what, Randy? Let's make sure that we put that in the arsenal for everybody that wants a copy. Bill, would you make sure and send that to Tucker? It's a cool idea. It's just a lot of cool things you can do with gifting, and I think we should push that out to everybody if you want it. All right, who else? What's your takeaways?
We
Hey,
gotta
Tony.
we got to ask Kristen, Tony, I think.
What's that?
Yeah.
We need a
I
female.
feel like I'm the only woman on here.
Who is this?
Kristen.
It's Kristen Carey. I'm
Hey,
with Dietrich.
good.
Good. How are you? I want to
Fantastic.
commend all the guys for being on this call.
Okay.
Two things I would take away. I'm a giver. And one thing I didn't even realize until we talked about this was I'm in sales, but I don't feel like I'm in sales. And one thing I try and do with all my clients is learn a little bit about their interests and hobbies and things like that. And two examples of that. One of my chief marketing officers that I was working with, she was training for a Century, a road biking race, and she needed a bike light. So we researched like the best one, that you could get. And she has always remembered that. She's such a wonderful client, always takes a meeting with me. She's kind of a mentor. And then another circumstance was the head of Avnet. The president was from Philadelphia, and I'm in Philadelphia. And before we had a meeting with them, we sent a box of soft pretzels, which is like a famous thing here with mustard. And I can't tell you how many people, including him, remember that. I was on the phone with a girl from Pure Storage the other day. She's like, remember that time you were at Avnet and you sent all those soft pretzels?
Yeah.
So little things like that.
Phil Gallagher, right?
It was Tony Botima, who I think has passed away, unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, he was great. And then the third thing is, it doesn't have to be work related. I have a grocery store near me, and talked to this guy who's checking me out, and it was his 40th birthday. And I said, what are you doing for your birthday? He's like, I'm probably going to go golfing and have dinner. So the next time I came in, I brought him some golf balls, and he was so appreciative. And he's now my best golfing buddy out there. So little things go a long way.
Yep. Acts of kindness.
And I like flowers anytime, by the way. So
who's next? What are you taking away you're going to use? What are you going to put into action? Tucker, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's more just being aware of, it's similar to the silver rule with DISC of, giving people information the way they want to receive it. Same, with this, when you want to do something thoughtful or, something of that sort, maybe words of affirmation is going to go a little bit further than say, giving a gift or something like that. So I think it's more just being conscious of, how other people like to receive certain things, and knowing that, again, if quality time's gonna be a lot better than acts of service, you just got to do so accordingly, and it goes a lot further.
Yep. Know what people want, right? Anu, what's on your mind?
When I was at Hewlett Packard, I used to do a lot of handwritten notes with my team, and I've gotten out of that habit. So I just wrote down the word successories, and I'm going to reestablish that.
Yep, good one. Michael, what's on your mind?
Just, in that bucket of words of affirmation, in my family, tone and words, I'm 100% Italian, and I come from a kind of crazy family, but we didn't get hung up on certain words. But in my family, like if you say the word like, hey, how was dinner? Oh, it was fine. Like that means dinner was not very good. And so just I'm constantly having to remind myself day in and day out with my kids and my wife, like how you say it and what word you use. And then I try to apply that in work too, because it 9 times out of 10, it's the same thing in the work world, certain tone or certain words. And particularly in email, if you're short and fast, like you can really turn somebody off. And now I have to learn in texting Like if I use a period, like thanks period, that's not like, you know, if you accidentally put in something in there, like there's a whole, you know, texting lingo now that you just have to be really careful.
Yep. Communication matters. All right, anybody else before I turn it to Randy? Randy, what's on your mind?
Once going twice. So anyway, thank you so much, Tony. Definitely very enlightening. As I said in the beginning, definitely feel free to go ahead and take the self-assessment. And I've got my wife, Janet, I'm trying to have do it. And I also think it'd be interesting exercise with the kids, because as much as you know them, it'd be interesting to see kind of what everybody comes back with and says. So feel free to pass this along, and you know, sales community continue to have great content. Most of you, I think, are now on our 2.0 version of the site, which is getting to be some real great engagement back and forth. A lot of real good kind of topic areas, resources. Feel free to continue to post, ask any questions, make any referrals. So we're really excited how that is all going. So thank you all that are members, and feel free to keep passing the words. And Tony, thank you so much. Great session. So you see next coming up, we have February 16th, high leverage activities. And again, with all these topics, you know, they may not sound super sexy or exciting, but, you know, Tony has a fantastic way of really going through, you know, he's got his MOLOs, more of, less of, and, you know, going through everything is real fantastic. So Tucker, Eloise, everybody else on the inside that helps us, I appreciate it. And also,